Welcome to Ask Psych Sessions, where we ask some of the best teachers in psychology questions from you, our audience. If you would like to send in a question or an idea for a conversation, please visit bit.ly/AskPsychSessions. That's bit.ly/AskPsychSessions, all lowercase, no spaces. And here's our next question. I am with Sue Frantz from Highline College, also of SueFrantz.com, which is with a T, FRANTZ.com. And Sue, thanks for meeting with us to talk about online teaching.
Always a pleasure, Garth.
Thanks. Okay, I have a couple questions for you because you, and I know we're going to talk about synchronous communication. That's kind of what we talked about ahead of time. But before we do that, I just want to get your perspective on something. How much technology should new instructors who have not taught online much, or at least not fully online, how much new technology would you recommend that they try out to start, just to get through right now?
As little as possible.
Okay.
The instructors are stressed, students are stressed, so asking instructors to add in a bunch of new technology and then trying to help students learn a bunch of new technology is just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I thought you might have that opinion. And what's interesting is that you have used and posted about so many different technologies. So you're the person with this answer as far as I'm concerned. And you are telling people, don't go out and find all the new tricks and toys. It's not the right time.
That is exactly correct. Keep it simple.
Good. So talk to me about synchronous communication. For those of us, I remember when I first started online teaching, I was like, asynchronous? What are we talking about here? Can you just tell us a little bit about it?
Certainly. So asynchronous communication would be like email. So I send you an email, and then tomorrow maybe you send me an email in response. You do it at your leisure. And a lot of online courses are really built for asynchronous communication. Here's a discussion board, post by this time, and then students can respond over the next 2, 3, 4 days, whatever it is. So it's asynchronous. The discussion is happening, but it's not all happening simultaneously. Synchronous communication is what we're doing right now. You and I are having a back and forth conversation in real time. Anytime you meet with a student in your office hours, that's synchronous. You meet with students in class, that's synchronous.
Perfect. So how do you take this classroom experience, because lots of instructors right now, just where we're at, are being forced, or it's recommended to them to take their classroom and move it online. And that, I think, is it's very different. It's challenging. How do you have these some equality of these synchronous activities or experiences online?
My recommendation is that if you are able to teach synchronously, to do it that way. I would recommend first starting with your faculty development office, your instructional design office, your institutional technology office, whoever you're getting communication from, about the kind of tools that are available to you. For instance, Panopto Lecture Capture, a lot of faculty have access to that. It's licensed to a number of different colleges and universities. So with Panopto, not only is it doing lecture recording in your classroom, which is where you may be most familiar with it, but when you run that Panopto, if you're familiar with that technology, when you run that recorder, in the top right corner, there's a checkbox, and next to it, it says webcast. If you check that box, students can watch your lecture live, and they have a chat box of their own that they can type questions into, and those questions will pop up on your screen. So if you're lecturing to a class of 40, 50, 150 students, you can do it. You can be in your home office using Panopto to do these live lectures with the checkbox checked, and students can watch live. And then, of course, there's a recording and students can watch afterwards. So if you're presenting to a whole bunch of people, if you have that kind of lecture capture software available to you, absolutely consider that. If you are meeting with smaller classes, like I'm picturing less than 20, then many of your institutions have a pro license for Zoom. In fact, within Washington State, the State Board for Community and Technical Colleges just worked out a deal with Zoom. So all of the 34 community and technical colleges in the state of Washington, all of our faculty and staff should now have access to pro licenses with Zoom.
Perfect. So Zoom is going to work for smaller classrooms.
It is, because for Zoom, everybody comes in with their webcams and the ability to speak, and it's got to be a manageable number of people if you're going to do that. I just did this last night with a class of about 15, and I wouldn't recommend going much greater than that.
Okay, so Panopto, if people have a learning management system, there might be a good chance that they've got Panopto access. They might also have Zoom access. And these are technologies that somebody, your instructional designer, or somebody at your college knows how to use. So if they are offering that kind of support, it's not like you're starting from scratch. Again, we're not recommending a bunch of new technologies.
That's exactly right. A lot of schools also have Blackboard Collaborate, which is not all that different from Zoom.
Now, go ahead.
I just want to emphasize that if you're going from a face-to-face class to an online environment, the easiest way to make that transition, I think, is to do one of these kinds of live broadcasts. To try and take all of your content and convert it into an online asynchronous class where you're creating discussion boards and assignments and that sort of thing, that's going to be much more challenging.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't do many synchronous activities in my online class, but I think you are absolutely right. At this point in time, if you are supposed to get an online class up and going for next week or for tomorrow, this seems like a really nice way to not only deliver content or, keep some flow between your face-to-face class and your online class, but I'm also thinking about the student experience and how it must just be. It would be very strange just to be thrown into online without that flow, that connection.
Absolutely. And if your students are accustomed to meeting Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m., then they've got that time set aside.
Yep.
They can access these technologies from their phone. And I think that's the other really important thing to keep in mind, is that a lot of our students don't have good, reliable internet access. So if you're asking them to do something different with technology, keep in mind that that the concept of digital native is really overblown. Mm-hmm. Our students know how to do what it is that they know how to do. If you want them to download music, they can download music. But for a lot of our students, they don't know how to use technology like Zoom or Panopto, how to use the tools that we use for their education. So as simple as you can make it for them, the easier it's going to be on you, frankly.
That's great, Sue. Hey, thanks for the time. And can you tell us what are you responding anyway on your blog or anything like on your webpage these days with what's going on?
I am working on a blog post right now on some tips on working from home. And one of the things I'm going to be talking about is you can call students from your home or cell phone, but I understand that a lot of faculty don't want students to have their number. So just a quick tip, if you do *67 and then the student's phone number, your phone number will not show up on their caller ID.
And these are the practical things that we have come to love about you and your blog. Thanks, Sue.
Thank you, Garth. Always a pleasure.